The wife and I was talking this morning when we rested at a local mall here that I walked to and then I walked back to get my exercise. And we were talking about loneliness. And I'm sure that she is the type of person that has never felt true, profound loneliness. But in my calling and in my ministry, especially in my ministry, I have felt it many, many times. And I was telling the wife, I said, I don't know whether it's because the people think like the Pharisees did to Jesus and said he hath a devil, or they do not listen, they do not desire to fellowship because they're afraid they will receive something that they might be required to use in the future. Either way, we have to check our motives when we turn somebody away. And I was telling the wife, I said, I miss the old saints. And most of the saints that I knew were non-Pentecostal. I was converted in a non-Pentecostal church. And as a matter of fact, it was a Nazarene church. And most of them only knew about salvation and the cleansing of the blood. But I remember those old saints. And I remember how they would sing certain songs. And the glory would fall. And they would get so blessed that they would shout and praise the bobby pins out of their hair, so to speak. And I know nobody uses bobby pins anymore, or very few do. But when you visited with these saints, no matter how little about the Bible they actually knew, you could tell you had been in the presence of God. You could tell that you were loved both coming and going. And I wonder sometimes about our fellowship or lack of it in the days that are coming. Is it going to be sufficient? When the dark times come and they're searching for the ones who proclaim the name of Christ, to challenge them to either deny their faith or die with it. I'm wondering if praise and dancing before the Lord and waving flags and all of that is going to really matter much. And I told my wife, I said, I miss the old fellowship, because it didn't matter what you were talking about. You were grounded in the faith enough. You were childlike in your belief enough to be comfortable in anything that you were talking about, because it all centered around Christ. It all centered around the blood. It all centered around His sacrifice upon the cross. And that was what we had in common, and that was all we needed. And I told my wife, I said, I drifted away for a little while from actively being in the church and actively taking a part in the ministry of God, even outside on the streets. There was a change that came over the brethren that I knew. the ones that I enjoyed the fellowship with so much had departed this life. God had taken them home. And a new breed of Christian had come in. One that was interested in decorum. One that was interested in maybe not shouting so much, or maybe the tears running down your face so much. And I didn't know them. And I must have been in the old school so deep entrenched that they didn't want to know me. So I have been alone and without a lot of fellowship. And a brother just sent me a prophecy. He doesn't realize how well that flowed from me, or from him to me. He doesn't know how much that spoke to my heart. And brother, if you listen to this video, keep up the good work. Be subjective and submissive to the Spirit of God. And whatsoever is good, proclaim it. Whatsoever is right, whatsoever is beneficial to the growth of the whole man, proclaim it. And don't give them promises that you think they want to hear, because you are wronging God and you're wronging your ministry. I have no organization backing me up. I've said that before. I don't want any organization backing me up. But not long ago, the wife mentioned how happy we were together and how well we could communicate. And I was aware of it. Pardon me. I was aware of the same thing. But I thought I was dreaming, because I had never run into a person that I could relate to so much. And yet, many of the times I'm talking to her, she doesn't understand most of the things that I say. But she is interested. And I brought that thing up to her about, why don't people, if I am a rank sinner, and if I am destroying the ministry of the cross, there should be God's people out there standing against me. They should be out there rebuking me in the name of Jesus. Okay, that's one point. Now, if I am an anointed prophet, if I am a soldier of the cross, and you report to be too, then where's the connection? Where are we? Do we learn to talk in glory? Do we learn to fellowship with each other in heaven? If anybody can answer that question for me, I wish they would. Now, I have had communication with some people, and I would like to have a lot more, because I want to declare this right now. And I hope that there was a possibility that I had gone about it wrong, and maybe God was not trying to tell me what I thought He was trying to tell me. But about 2 years ago, after my wife and I got married, and it's been over 2 years now, she mentioned to me she would like to have 3 years together to enjoy each other. 3 years that could be guaranteed us for happiness. And I told her then, I said, honey, I have had a long discouragement in love and devotion from family and friends that I knew. But I sense something different about your approach to me and to everything about us being together. So I'm going to pray and I'm going to ask God. And I had never, in my memory, I had never done that before. And I asked God for 3 years. And he said, granted. That was the only words that came to me, granted. But when I turned and said, Lord, I'll make a little more bargaining if you'll give me an ear to listen. And I asked him, I said, what about more time, Lord? No answer came. There was no response. So I am thinking that the Lord has promised me 3 years, which in just a few months, that time will be up. And I told my wife, I said, honey, I've always thought that I would go home to be with Jesus alone, in the dark, at night, and my soul would just slip away. But I said, I don't want it that way. If I can find friends and family who care enough about me, I would like to have them in my room and me holding my sweetheart's hand, because she's given me more love in this last 2.5 years than I have known in a lifetime. And I want to hold her hand because she's special to me. And I would like for God to reveal to me the coming of the angels, the sound of the wings. I've told my wife this morning, I said, I've heard the music from Beulah. I've heard the saints faintly singing over on that shore. And though I have no one that really fellowships with me down here, God has given me the realization and the feeling that all of my friends are waiting on the other side. They're waiting to welcome me home. They're waiting to shake my hand and to pat me on the back and say, we know your fight. We know how long it's been. And we want you to know that you're with us now. And you will be loved from here on out through infinity, because you're with your family. And when that time comes that I close my eyes, I want to have my wife's hand. And I want to relate to her the passing of my soul. I want to tell her everything that I'm experiencing, from the pain on. And when the wings of the holy ones, I hear them, I want to let her know. And I want to know when they take me by the arms and lift me up out of my body. You say, prophet, do you believe that? Yes. Wholeheartedly, 100%, willing to go the extra mile for that belief. I will be able to get my story across to someone. And she will be able to testify, I saw a man of God go home. I saw his soul in the last few minutes of his life. And I saw the wonder and the amazement and the glory on his face. I know, and I want to tell the world that I know. God bless you. God keep you. Stand upon the solid rock, Jesus Christ. Plead the blood daily. Know the scriptures. Seek God, and he will be found. Thirst for him, and you will drink. Hunger for him, and you will be filled. Maranatha.